Not every guest you interview is going to be amazing. Not every monologue you write is going to be stellar. There's no way to fix that reality. What do you do with a subpar episode? Don't release it. Hello and welcome to another Podcast Pontifications with me, Evo Terra. I'm allergic to most forms of platitudes and marketing speak. With crush it and fake it till you make it, topping my list of eye-rolling phrases. Dropping knowledge bombs or dropping value bombs is another one of those. Except when it's warranted. Mike Carruthers of the podcast Something You Should Know did that very thing. He dropped a value bomb as we were recording another Podcasters Roundtable session last week. Podcasters Roundtable, for the uninitiated, is a live show that is, well, it's just exactly what it sounds like. A group of podcasters in a roundtable talking about various things related to podcasting. It's very, very inside baseball, or inside podcasting, except it's not inside podcasting. It's called Podcasters Roundtable. Anyhow, I digress. Last week was my 5th appearance on Podcasters Roundtable, where I joined, longtime podcasters Dave Jackson and Ray Ortega, along with Mike Carruthers, who I just mentioned a moment ago. Now, Podcasters Roundtable is just a fun, casual conversation, and it's certainly no contest. But all three of us, and Mike probably himself included, we agreed that Mike won the episode. Again, there is no contest of these episodes, but Mike clearly won the episode when he revealed that 20% of the interviews he conducts for Something You Should Know, 20% of those interviews don't make it on the show. Now, why not? Well, simply because the content isn't good enough, and Mike cares deeply about the content of his podcast. And when a guest doesn't cut it, he doesn't put the guest on. Now, that's even with Mike taking the time to record a video that details out in exacting detail what is expected of a guest. So when they reach out to guests and they vet guests and they send them this video and the guests say, yes, I got it. I know exactly the kind of energy and entertainment you want me to bring to the show. 20% don't make it. That's 1 in 5. If you do an interview show, perhaps you do that interview show once a week. Imagine if every 5th week the guest you had lined up didn't cut it, and then you decided not to air that episode. That's quite radical, I think. And as I said on the show, I wish more podcasters would take that approach. I wish more podcasters cared as much about their show, or cared so much about their show, that they too would refuse to air an episode that wasn't of the highest quality. Now that's hard. I mean, I get it. Especially if your recording schedule mirrors your production schedule, which in turn mirrors your release schedule. If you do all those things in 1 week, produce it, record that guest, produce that episode, and release it all in the same week, which most podcasters do, you have no built-in buffer. You don't have the ability to do what Mike does for his show, and that's make sure none of the episodes ever air that aren't of the best quality. If you don't have that built-in buffer, you can't do that. So maybe you should have that built-in buffer. You're the gatekeeper when it comes to the quality of your show, or someone on your team is the gatekeeper of quality when it comes to your show. And the reality is that not every guest you bring on is going to be great. Take it again from what Mike just told us there, 20%. So, and a not great episode with a not great guest? Nobody wants to listen to that. Literally no one wants to listen to that. I mean, sure, your loyal fans will certainly forgive you if you have a not-so-great episode every so often. But every 4 or 5 episodes, not so great? Come on. That's a stretch. For your existing listeners, now think about the all-important first-time listeners. Do you want their first experience with you and your show to be a not-so-good episode? Is that what you want them to hear? Now look, this is me. Only you can answer that question. Only you know what your tolerance is for subpar quality. So I'll just remind you that every day, podcasters in your niche are seriously stepping up and improving the quality of their shows. Every day, professionals, some with years of media experience, are making their shows more attractive to their listeners and drawing audience away from subpar shows. Every day, people are finding amazing podcasting content that does not, in fact, truck with subpar episodes. And those people find they have less and less room in their media consumption diet for shows with inconsistent quality. So don't let your show be a statistic. The best way to control your podcast's quality is you control your podcast's quality. Now, some quick housekeeping. Podcast Movement 21 is coming up in just a few days, and no, I will not be attending in person. I will be attending virtually, however. I've blocked the entire week and plan on watching from the comfort of my own living room, where I'll be engaging and interacting as much as I possibly can. Now, I am, however, planning on attending in-person She Podcasts. Yes, I will be attending She Podcasts in person in October of 2021. So if you're coming to Scottsdale, Arizona, which is just around the corner, I would absolutely love to meet up with you at the event or out for drinks after the event or before or whatever. Just drop me a note, evo@simplermedia, and we shall find a time to meet up. And finally, if my retelling of Mr. Mike Carruthers' value bomb, geez, Evo, if that was valuable to you, please consider lending me your support by buying me a virtual coffee, or maybe 12 of those, at buymeacoffee.com/evoterra. That's it. I shall be back tomorrow with yet another podcast, Pontifications. Cheers!